Shocking twist, lonely receptionist finds love with a dark CEO at midnight. Will she regret it? It was a night of secrets and shadows, where the flickering neon lights reflected the uncertainty that hung in the air. The clock ticked closer to midnight, and with it came an eerie stillness that wrapped around the empty office like a thick fog. Clara, the lone receptionist, stared at the glowing computer screen, her heartbeat a loud drum echoing in the silence. She was used to the quiet of the late shift, but tonight felt different. Heavy. Thicker. Something was lurking just beyond the doors she monitored, and she could feel it in her bones. As she squinted at the surrounding darkened cubicles, the fluorescent bulbs hummed a haunting melody, almost murmuring secrets of those who once filled the space. Shivers raced down her spine when she heard the faint sound of footsteps, even though she knew she was the only one there. Just a figment of her overworked imagination, she thought, yet it left her breathless and wide-eyed with curiosity. What could possibly be in the dim corridors of this corporate fortress at such an untimely hour? Suddenly, the elevator doors slid open with a groan that echoed down the hall. Clara's heart stopped. A figure emerged, a tall man draped in an expensive suit, his dark hair slicked back, his jaw sharp as if chiseled from stone. It was Nathaniel Reed, the infamous CEO known for his ruthless business tactics and mysterious past. The rumors buzzed around the office like angry wasps. He was respected, feared, and, some said, dangerously alluring. Why was he here, alone, at this hour? She caught her breath, trying to steady the whirlwind of emotions clawing at her insides. Memories of whispered conversations flickered to life. He's been spotted at the bar late at night, drowning his sorrows. They say there are unspeakable things hidden behind those cold blue eyes. A wave of nervousness washed over her, making her skin prickle. Was it dread or excitement? Before Clara could register her next move, their eyes met. A spark ignited, an energy thrumming between them like static, tinged with intrigue and undeniable attraction. She wondered if he could sense her racing pulse or the way her palms grew clammy. What was it about this man that drew her in? The danger? The darkness? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Clara's heart raced as Nathaniel closed the distance, his expression a mix of contemplation and urgency. I need to talk to you, he whispered, his voice low and gravelly, sending shivers down her spine. The air felt thick, charged with tension, expectation, and a possibility that sent a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. What could he possibly want to discuss at this hour? Was it about work, or something more personal? The entire floor felt like it had shifted beneath her, even as the lights flickered ominously above. The silence stretched on. Clara could barely breathe, the pulse in her neck thrumming loudly, drowning out every other sound. Would she dive into the unknown with him? Was she ready to uncover what lay beneath his dark exterior? As her mind raced with possibilities, the question lingered in her heart: would this moment lead to a connection that ignited the spark she'd long been missing, or would it unravel into regret as the night unfolded? Clara swallowed hard, her throat dry as sandpaper. As Nathaniel stepped closer, the air crackled with unspoken words and hidden truths. She could see the sharp angles of his face illuminated by the dim light, could feel the weight of his presence pressing against her. Despite everything she had heard, there was something undeniably magnetic about him. What do you need to talk about? She managed to ask, her voice barely more than a whisper. His blue eyes bore into hers, a flicker of something deeper passing between them, a challenge? A plea? He took another step forward, lowering his voice further. It's about the project, and more. Clara's heart raced. The project? It was always about work, wasn't he it? Yet there was a spark of invitation in his tone, one that hinted at something beyond mere business, something intoxicating. The way he said more sent shivers racing up her spine. Before she could process her pounding heart or the sweet aroma of his cologne that enveloped her senses, Nathaniel closed the space completely, leaning in so that their faces were just inches apart. I have a feeling this office holds more than just work for you and me. Something deep within Clara stirred, a mix of excitement and fear intertwined. He was right, but was she prepared to explore that sentiment? Her thoughts churned, grappling with the tightness in her chest, the conflicting urge to either retreat or dive into this unpredictable encounter. What do you mean? She dared to ask, her curiosity piqued. Nathaniel hesitated, his gaze flickering toward the flickering lights above them. There are things I can't share, but I know you're not just a receptionist. You know there's more to this place, hidden things that come to life after dark. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in, making the shadows around them feel alive. Clara felt a chill run down her spine, an instinctual caution pushing against the thrill bubbling up inside her. She knew the rumors, dark dealings that surrounded the CEO, his past shrouded in mystery. What secrets could he possibly be hinting at? The thrill of the unknown teased at her, coaxing her forward even as a small voice in her head shouted for her to step back. You can't just say that and expect me to, she started, but he interrupted her, his expression shifting. Can't I? His tone was firm yet inviting. You want more than this life, this desk that traps you in an endless cycle of routine. I felt it the moment I saw you. His intensity grew with every word, and she felt her breathing hitch. Clara bit her lip, trying to mask the fire igniting within her, the dangerous allure of the dark path he was suggesting. Was it possible that he saw her that way, as a person deserving of more? As he continued to stare into her eyes, it was as if he was reading her soul. I do want more, she finally admitted, her heart hammering against the walls of her ribcage. The admission shocked her, laying bare her desires. Nathaniel leaned closer, lowering his voice even further. Then join me. There's a party tonight, an exclusive invitation I can get you into. You might discover things about yourself, things you've hidden away. Clara's mind raced. Was it just a diversion? Or was he offering a glimpse into the real world beyond these office walls? As uncertainty tangled within her, the distant hum of laughter echoed around them, promising excitement but also danger. Are you ready for this? He asked, his breath brushing against her ear, sending another electrifying jolt through her. But just as she felt herself on the edge of decision, the office doors swung open, revealing a group of late-night workers, their laughter cutting through the charged atmosphere. Clara pulled back, her heart sinking. The spell was broken. Confusion and apprehension swirled in her gut. What would she choose? The promise of excitement or the safety of her routine? With the party invitation hanging in the air like a tantalizing promise, she could only question, was this the start of something extraordinary or a descent into chaos, as the night stretched before her? Like an uncharted path, Clara felt the weight of each decision thumping in her chest. The moment had come. Would she take the plunge into the unknown? It all depended on what Nathaniel revealed next. Clara's breath quickened as the laughter of her colleagues echoed like a distant thunderstorm, breaking the fragile spell Nathaniel had cast. The warmth that enveloped her began to evaporate, replaced by an icy grip of nerves. She had nearly crossed a threshold into a world painted in shadows and whispers, a world she had only heard about in hushed tones. Clara. Nathaniel's voice dropped, low and intense, forcing her to focus. This is just the beginning. Don't let them steal this moment. She could feel the pulse of uncertainty vibrating through the air. The office buzzed with chatter and muffled footsteps, a stark contrast to the charged intimacy that had electrified her heart mere moments ago. As faces turned towards her, curiosity glimmered in their eyes, and Clara felt exposed, caught between two realities, one of mundane white walls and forwarded calls, the other full of uncharted excitement and danger. Among the crowd, Sarah, her friend from HR, shot her an encouraging smile, blissfully unaware of the tumultuous choice Clara was grappling with. Could she confide in anyone? The pull of the unknown was strong, yet it was also petrifying. "Just come tonight," Nathaniel urged, his voice a seductive whisper that seemed to drown out the noise around them. "You won't regret it. I promise you'll find what you've been missing." Clara's heart raced. The promise of adventure tugged at her, threatening to unravel everything she thought she knew about herself. But, what if it held more than just excitement? What if it led her to trouble? "Why do I feel like there's something you're not telling me?" She couldn't hold back the tremor in her voice. "What kind of things are we talking about?" Nathaniel stepped back, creating just enough space to give her a fleeting moment to breathe. His expression twisted between frustration and concern. "There are things in this world, Clara, things that can change you in ways you can't even imagine. Meet me tonight, and I'll show you." An unexpected jolt of defiance surged within her. "What do you have to lose?" she challenged, her voice shaking but steady. Clara didn't know if she wanted to challenge him or if she really needed to prove something to herself. He inhaled sharply and took a step back, his brilliant blue eyes darkening slightly. "Please. This isn't a game to me." She was left with a cryptic mix of fear and thrill. The very air around them felt electric. The office, with its safely contained chaos, was now feeling increasingly claustrophobic. "Clara." Sarah's piercing voice pulled her back to the present. "Are you joining us for drinks?" The laughter from her colleagues was like shards of glass, each piece slicing through the tension surrounding her. Clara blinked, realizing the greater part of her wanted to leap into the void. She could feel the siren call from Nathaniel, urging her to explore the depths of her desires, and yet, doubt clung like cobwebs in her mind. Tonight would be a pivotal moment. Then, without answering, Clara turned back to Nathaniel, but he was already drifting away, melding into the crowd, leaving her with only the lingering scent of his cologne and the intoxicating promise of possibilities. "See you later." He called over his shoulder, his gaze still fixed on her. Her mind raced. Could she really step away from everything safe? The prospect of the party both thrilled and terrified her, and she was tethered to that tension. As her heart pounded relentlessly against her chest, Clara's resolve began to untangle. What awaited her beyond those office doors tonight? Would it be freedom or disaster? She hadn't yet made her choice, and it hung in the air like a fog, thick and obscuring, but just before the door closed behind Nathaniel, he turned, his voice ringing through the dim-lit office once more. "Clara. Remember, the truth is often found in dark places." His words lingered in the air, a promise and a warning all at once. Would she dare to uncover those dark secrets? What awaited her in the shadows of the night? The clock was ticking, and Clara found herself asking a single burning question: would she step into the abyss, or walk the safe, well-worn path of her monotonous life? The clock ticked ominously closer to the hour, each sound echoing in Clara's ears like a haunting reminder of the choice she had yet to make. She glanced around the office, where her colleagues continued their chatter, oblivious to the storm brewing within her. A part of her desperately wished to blend in, to absorb the laughter that once felt comforting. But tonight, it felt like a prison. Clara took a moment and inhaled deeply, trying to quell the rising tide of uncertainty. The dim glow of her desk lamp created shadows around her, almost welcoming her to the other side of a wall she was on the brink of crossing. She could still hear Nathaniel's voice, dark, compelling. It wrapped around her mind like a vine, pulling her towards the unknown. As the hours crawled by, her imagination took control. What would happen at the gathering? Would she finally find the thrill that had eluded her life so far? Or would she open a door that led to consequences she couldn't foresee? After a shaky exhale, she rose abruptly from her desk, the decision made. Her heart raced as she slipped out of the office, leaving the sterile lights behind. The bustling streets outside felt alive, a stark contrast to the sterile ambience she was used to. Each step drew her closer to whatever awaited her tonight, nightfall draped the city in a velvet blanket, and Clara found herself standing before a trendy bar. Neon lights bounced off the glass windows, beckoning her from the edge of uncertainty. She hesitated at the entrance, feeling the weight of her choice rest heavy on her shoulders, but the memory of Nathaniel's blue eyes, fearful and passionate, drove her forward. As she entered, the bass of the music pulsed against her chest, and the atmosphere enveloped her. People swirled around, laughter and chatter creating an intoxicating blend. She spotted Nathaniel in the corner, engaged in conversation with a group. There was an allure to him, more potent in this dim-lit atmosphere, and it ignited something deep within her. He glanced her way, and suddenly, the noise around her faded. His eyes lit up, drawing her into his orbit like a moth to a flame. The ache of longing became palpable, and for once, she dismissed the cautious voices in her head. The unpredictable energy of the night beckoned. "Clara," he said smoothly as she approached, that intoxicating smile playing on his lips. "You made it. Did you think I wouldn't?" Her voice felt foreign, daring yet playful. "There was a chance you might choose the mundane," he teased. His gaze lingered, both intense and inviting. "But I'm glad to see you here." As the crowd swayed around them, Nathaniel leaned closer, the conversation sharpening. "You know, tonight is about discovery. Are you ready to dig deep?" Before she could respond, he pulled her away from the chaos, leading her into a secluded alcove where the music faded to a distant thrum, the outside world dimming into insignificance. Clara's breath hitched. The space felt charged, electric and dangerous. "Tell me about the dark places you mentioned earlier," she challenged, nerves dancing along her spine and a spark igniting in her chest. His gaze darkened as he studied her, a mix of delight and something more serious glimmering beneath. "It's more than I can explain in this moment," he admitted. "But it starts with trust, and a willingness to explore what you fear." The air thickened with tension, the promise of secrets just out of reach. Clara felt a swirl of excitement and apprehension, the kind that made her pulse race and her palms sweat. What awaited her beyond this threshold? And just as she opened her mouth to voice her next thought, the bar's door swung open violently, letting in a gust of cold air and a man who instantly shifted the atmosphere. His presence was heavy, dragging curiosity and darkness behind him as he scanned the room. Clara felt him lock eyes with her, and a chill wrapped around her spine. In that instant, the moment shifted. The playful probe into dark places morphed into something tangible and threatening. "What do you want?" Nathaniel's tone turned. Steel-like, protective. Clara's heart sank as the unknown man approached them, a smile creeping onto his lips that felt anything but friendly. And all at once, her adventurous night felt like it was on the precipice of something sinister. What truths would emerge when the darkness encroached? Would tonight uncover liberation, or would it unveil her worst fears? With her heart pounding and the weight of uncertainty bearing down, Clara braced herself for whatever revelation was about to unfold. Nathaniel stepped forward, his body a barrier between Clara and the stranger. The man moved with a slow confidence, each step calculated, as if he relished the tension that crackled in the air. Clara's gaze darted between Nathaniel and the newcomer, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The facade of the bustling bar began to feel like a false reality, the laughter and music fading into an ominous hush. "What do you want?" Nathaniel repeated, voice low and steady, but Clara could hear the tightness underneath. The man smiled wider, a split of white teeth that seemed all the more threatening. "Isn't it obvious? I'm here for Clara," he said, his eyes glinting with something unyielding. "Who the hell are you?" Clara managed to ask, her voice trembling. He chuckled, shaking his head like her ignorance amused him. "Names don't matter. What matters is that you're in the wrong place, sweetheart." "Wrong place?" Nathaniel stepped forward, his posture rigid, ready to confront this man who radiated an unsettling energy. "You need to back off." Clara's heart raced. She felt torn between Nathaniel's protective stance and the curiosity of this man. There was a magnetic pull about him, laced with danger. But the unease settled deeper within her, clawing at her chest. "What do you know about me?" Clara raised her chin, unwilling to show weakness. "More than you think," the man replied, his smirk growing. "You're looking for something that you know you can find if you just open that door." He gestured back toward the bar, a sweeping motion that felt predatory. "But beware. Not all doors should be opened." A shiver ran down Clara's spine. The weight of his words hung in the air like a storm cloud. Nathaniel shot a glance back at her, silent but somehow conveying urgency. "Clara, let us go," he insisted, not taking his eyes off the man, but she found herself rooted in place. "Why do you know my name?" she challenged again, the tremor in her tone slipping through. "Because I've only just begun to watch you and I knew you'd make the choice to come here tonight." He leaned a bit closer, and Clara could feel the tension rising to a boiling point. "You should embrace the darkness, not shy from it." Before she could respond, the bartender intervened, stepping up with an air of authority that broke the standoff. "Everything okay here?" His voice rang out, a challenge hanging in the bar's smoky air. The man straightened, his demeanor shifting as though he wore a mask. "Perfectly fine," he said, his voice smooth as silk, hiding the edge underneath. He glanced at the bartender with cool indifference, and without another word, began to retreat. "Enjoy your night, Clara," he called back as he walked away, his departing words dripping with an unsettling promise. Nathaniel turned to Clara, concern etched on his face. "We need to leave," he urged. "That guy is bad news. I don't care what he says. He has no business here." But what did he mean? Clara's mind raced, thoughts colliding like a storm. What did he see in me? Nathaniel's eyes darkened, a shadow passing over his expression. "He sees you as a target. I can't let that happen." Just then, the ambient noise of the bar seemed to shift, the clarity of Clara's confusion spinning into an overwhelming whirl. She could sense Nathaniel's tension, his protective instinct surging to the forefront. Yet, a part of her was still intrigued by the darkness the stranger had hinted at. As they moved toward the exit, Clara glanced back, searching for the man, her heart still pounding. He stood at the back, a figure now cloaked in shadow, watching her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "Don't," Nathaniel said curtly, gripping her arm gently but firmly. "Just let it go. He's not worth it." But Clara felt the mystery enveloping her like dusk. The night had shifted into a canvas of unanswered questions. Who was that man? Why was he interested in her? What darkness was she being beckoned to explore? As they stepped out into the cool night air, Clara shuddered, the intense electricity of the bar left behind, but the air was still thick with unresolved tension. "What happens now?" she whispered, heart thudding against her chest. "Now we find out who is really watching." But Clara couldn't shake the feeling that everything was only just beginning. What darkness loomed just beneath the surface of her life, waiting to be dragged into the light? With each heartbeat, the pull toward that unknown whispered promises of something far more than simple adventure, tantalizing her with the idea of liberation or riskier choices. Little did she know, the night was certainly far from over. The bite of the night air was sharp. Clara pulled her jacket tighter around her as they stepped onto the empty street. The din of the bar faded, awkward laughter and clinking glasses replaced by an eerie silence that felt like a warning. She could still feel the weight of the man's gaze on her, a lingering chill that gripped her tightly. "Let us get out of here," Nathaniel urged, the urgency in his tone cutting through the fog of her thoughts. He looked up and down the street, eyes scanning for any sign of danger. There was something about Nathaniel's demeanor tonight, something frantic beneath his stoic exterior. The dim streetlights flickered, underscoring the tension. "Wait," Clara said, her resolve hardening. She pulled her arm free from Nathaniel's grasp. "I need to know what's happening." "Clara, listen," he pressed, his voice lowering to a fierce whisper. "You don't understand. This isn't just some random encounter. That guy is dangerous. But why did he say he was watching me? It's like he knows something about me, something I don't even know. Clara's heart raced, half from fear and half from an unsettling thrill. The thrill of the unknown had her buzzing like the street lamps flickering overhead. Exactly. Nathaniel shot back, frustration bubbling in his voice. That's why we need to leave now before it escalates. Trust me. Clara hesitated, torn between surrendering to Nathaniel's protective instincts and her need for answers. Something inside her wondered if the darkness this stranger spoke of was connected to the feeling she'd felt for so long. Something was missing in her life, and she could almost taste the adventure. Nathaniel's plea was desperate, and she could see the worry etched in his features. Just give me a second, Clara said, her own voice shaky as she scanned the street one more time. She needed to confront whatever this was. Suddenly, a car pulled up alongside them, the headlights cutting through the darkness like a spotlight. Clara turned as the window slid down, revealing the man from the bar, his face now eerily calm. Clara, he called, his voice smooth, laced with sinister charm. Why don't you come a little closer? I can show you where the real adventure lies. A chill crept down her spine. Get back. Nathaniel ordered, stepping protectively in front of her again. Clara could see the strength in his stance but also the growing fear in his eyes. Is that really how you want to play this? The man chuckled, dark amusement dancing in his gaze. Don't worry, Nathaniel, I'm not here to hurt her unless she wants it. The implications of his words hit Clara like a punch to the gut. Don't listen to him, Clara. Nathaniel shouted, panic now overriding his usually calm demeanor. But Clara stood entranced, her heart racing with adrenaline, whispers of intrigue pulling at her. What do you know about me? Her voice came out barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of her curiosity. I know everything, the man answered, leaning closer, confidence radiating from him. You want to break free. You crave the unknown, the thrill of it. Come with me, and I'll show you what you've been searching for. Each word slipped through the space between them like a thread weaving a tapestry of temptation and fear. Clara's heartbeat drummed violently as she grasped the gravity of her choices. Was she really ready to dive into the darkness he offered? Before she could respond, Nathaniel stepped back, shaking his head. Clara, don't. Please. Why? She snapped, frustration boiling over. Why can't I know what is going on? Why are you so afraid of this? Because I can't let anyone take you from me, he said, desperation clawing through his voice, the tension stretched taut like a bowstring, ready to snap at any moment. The stranger leaned back slightly, tilting his head as if considering Clara's next move, a dangerous smile playing on his lips. Choose wisely, Clara. The night is still young, and so are the secrets it holds. With her heart in her throat, Clara felt the weight of a decision pressing down on her. Should she step toward the unknown, or retreat back to safety? As she teetered on the brink, the world around her seemed to dim, leaving only her swirling thoughts and the predatory smile from the man. But just then, a loud crash echoed through the night behind them, all eyes turned, hearts racing. What now? That sound was the last thing she would expect. Was the night not done with its surprises yet? The crash echoed again, a violent sound slicing through the tense silence, forcing Clara back to the present. Not just a distant noise, but something closer. Something that demanded attention. What was that? Nathaniel's eyes darted to the source, filled with equal parts fear and resolve. I don't know. Clara whispered, adrenaline flooding her veins. Her instincts screamed at her to flee, but something in her gut pulled her to stay to uncover the mystery. The man in the car watched with an amused expression, as if he were privy to a hidden truth. Ah, the night does love a little chaos, he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Shut up. Nathaniel snapped, physically backing Clara further away from the vehicle, closer to the darkened alley where the sound had originated. It seemed that was where the potential danger lurked, hidden from sight. Go, Clara, Nathaniel urged, his voice shaking with urgency. Now. But Clara couldn't move. She was frozen, caught between the safety Nathaniel offered and the allure of the stranger. What if that noise is connected to this? She asked, her breath hitching. Don't be foolish. Nathaniel's eyes flashed with fear. You're not thinking straight. Yet in that heartbeat, Clara realized Nathaniel's fear was matched by something else, an intensity that felt almost like panic. You know something, don't you? She breathed, her attention flicking from the man to Nathaniel. He didn't deny it. What are you hiding? She pressed, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst. Clara was done with veils and shadows, but before Nathaniel had a chance to respond, another crash reverberated from the alley, louder and more urgent, followed by shouting sounds of a scuffle. Please, let us just go. Nathaniel's voice broke with pleading desperation as he reached for her hand. But Clara was drawn to the chaos, the adrenaline thrumming in her blood. I need to know what's happening. Clara, don't. With a sudden decision, Clara pulled her hand free, glancing back at the man who remained poised in the car, still smiling, his eyes glinting in the streetlight. Stay close, Nathaniel warned, but the distance between them had already stretched. Clara turned and took a step towards the alley's darkness, the shouting growing clearer, more frantic. She could make out muffled voices, angry and desperate. Her heart pounded as she willed herself forward. Come on. Nathaniel hissed, urgency flooding his voice, but Clara's curiosity was stronger now. Just a little closer, the man called from the car, his tone dripping with a sinister promise. You'll find all the answers you seek in that shadow. Or perhaps you'll wish you hadn't looked. Clara hesitated, the invisible string of danger tugging harder as fear tangled with fascination. The world felt suspended in a single moment. She could either turn back to safety or leap into the heart of uncertainty. A loud shout erupted from the alley, louder and sharper this time, snapping Clara out of her trance. She moved forward, driven by instinct, toward the sound of chaos. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a scene breaking apart in front of her, two figures caught in a heated struggle, shadows flickering against the walls. Clara's breath caught, there was no turning back now. Clara! Nathaniel shouted again, his voice thick with urgency, but the moment she stepped fully into the alley, everything changed. Her eyes widened as she recognized one of the figures, a woman, terrified and fighting back, but the other one was shrouded in darkness. Clara's heart dropped. Something clicked into place, and a memory surged. She had seen that woman before, in fleeting moments, at the deli where she worked. What was happening? She opened her mouth to call out, but no words came. The world spun as the man from the car stepped out, a predatory grin stretching across his face, his gaze locking onto Clara. Welcome to the game, Clara. Her heart sank as everything fell into chaos again. The shadows shifted around them, and time felt frozen. What had she just stepped into? The night was relentless, and for Clara, there were no easy choices left. What would she uncover in that alley? Truth, danger, or something far more sinister? The alley's breath hung thick around Clara, a swirling miasma of fear and confusion. There was a glint in the man's eyes as he took a step closer, and again, Clara felt the urgency of Nathaniel's voice cutting through the frenzy. Clara, please. The woman's desperate cries echoed in the narrow passage. Help me. Someone, help. The pleading cut right through Clara, snapping her from the man's hypnotic hold. Something shifted inside her, fear crystallized into clarity. Let her go. Clara shouted, the words bursting forth before she could think. The stranger paused, considering her with mock amusement. Brave girl. But bravery often leads to foolish decisions. His smile deepened. You should be careful. You don't know what you're asking for. Nathaniel's hand gripped her arm, his voice low and strained. We need to go, Clara. Now. Shut up. She barked back, surprising herself. The thrill of defiance surged through her. I'm not leaving her. The shadows shifted, and in that split second, the other figure lunged forward, throwing the woman aside with a shove. Clara's heart raced at the sight of the masked man, his stature looming, dark clothes swallowing all light. That it was a violent dance, a struggle of shadows against the dim streetlight. The woman, breathless and trembling, scrambled to her feet, eyes darting between Clara and Nathaniel, filled with panic. You need to run. Please. The masked figure shifted, eyes locking onto Clara's. Another one who wishes to play hero? His words dripped with contempt. Something inside Clara tightened. What do you want with her? His laugh was low, almost gravelly, resonating off the alley walls. What I want is irrelevant, but tonight is a game of survival. She chose to play. But you're hurting her. Clara yelled, raw fear electrifying her words. Enough. The man stepped forward, towering menacingly. Step aside, or you'll wish you hadn't. Every survival instinct in Clara screamed at her to run, but she was anchored, refusing to be just another spectator. She had to act. If you think I'm going to let you take her without a fight, you're wrong. Nathaniel shook his head vigorously, eyes wide with dread. Clara. We can't fight him. He's dangerous. Dangerous, yes, but afraid? The man quipped, his gaze narrowing. That's where the fun begins. With a sudden movement, he lunged for the woman again, but Clara sprang forward, adrenaline igniting in her veins. No. She threw herself in the path, adrenaline surging as if she were the heroine in a cheap thriller. You're making a mistake, the man growled, eyes flaring with anger. Let her go. If you want someone to play with, then you'll deal with me. Clara shouted, heart thumping wildly. A silence fell, thick and suffocating. In that moment of stillness, Clara's breath came fast, her mind racing as she steadied herself, ready for whatever the night would throw next. The masked figure stepped back, a flicker of surprise flashing across his face. Interesting. I didn't expect such fervor from a little receptionist. The woman seized the opportunity, scrambling behind Clara. Please, just get out of here. He's not what he seems. Clara's heart sank. The warning weighed heavily between them, a palpable dread creeping into her veins. What darkness had she unknowingly stumbled upon? The man smiled, stepping back into the shadows. The night is still young. There will be blood, but first, there's a choice to make. What choice? Nathaniel barked, his voice strained and desperate. Choose wisely, little ones, the man taunted, his silhouette melding with the darkness. In this game, lives are at risk and nothing is as it seems. As he vanished, so did any sense of safety Clara had. The gravity of her situation hit her hard. What have I done? Each second felt loaded, the stakes impossibly high. The alley had transformed into a stage of fate and fear. Clara's hands trembled, her heart racing. Could she truly save the woman? Or had she plunged them all deeper into the chaos? With the air electric with tension, Clara knew one thing: the night was just beginning, and she was right in the eye of the storm. What darkness awaited them ahead, and would they all survive the unraveling game? Clara's mind raced as uncertainty clouded her vision. Turning to the trembling woman, she scanned her face for answers, but all she found was fear, raw, unfiltered panic. Who is he? What does he want? Clara demanded, her voice deceptively steady. I can't, the woman stammered, glancing over her shoulder, as if the shadows themselves were listening. He's part of something bigger, something terrible. If you don't leave, a vicious crack echoed through the alley, splintering the tension. Clara's heart leaped into her throat. What was that? She gasped, adrenaline surging anew. Just a warning, the masked man's voice slithered from the darkness, drawing back into the light like a snake. Stay and play, or run and hide. The choice is yours, but you might not like the consequences. Nathaniel pulled Clara back slightly, his eyes wide with terror. We need to get out of here. He'll kill us. No. Clara insisted, shaking him off with surprising force. I want to leave her. We can't let him just take her. Clara, please. Nathaniel begged, his voice cracking. We're in over our heads. Why was she so driven to help this stranger? The quiet part of her mind whispered that it was reckless, foolish even. But the louder part, the one swelling with defiance, pushed her forward. The woman was vulnerable and had clearly seen something awful. Tell us what he wants. Clara cried, gripping the woman's shoulders, her own resolve not wavering despite the shadows closing around them. I don't know everything, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. But he's collecting something from people like me. Secrets. Proof. I tried to escape, but he found me. The masked figure stepped forward, shadows clinging to him. Secrets? Proof? He laughed, a cold, unsettling sound. The little birds think they can fly away. You should know, once you're in my sights, there's no escaping the hunt. The woman's breathing quickened, panic rising in tandem with the threat. This isn't just about me. It's about everyone. He's not human, he plays a game with our lives. A cloying dread wrapped around Clara's chest. This wasn't a usual confrontation. Everything about the masked figure felt otherworldly, as if he were a puppet master of nightmares. What game? Clara pressed, voice clicking like a metronome. What do you mean? The masked figure straightened, his presence dominating the alleyway. The kind that writes an ending you'll never forget, dear girl. He leaned close, breath cold against her skin. But first, you must choose sides. Either stand with the prey, or join the hunt. What do you mean? Clara asked, adrenaline coursing through her veins, skepticism battling with her growing dread. Lose yourself in the darkness, or fight to stay in the light, he replied cryptically. But know this, every choice has a price. The woman's eyes widened, understanding in her gaze as she stared at the masked man. He'll make you pay. He'll use you. It's not just a game for him, it's power. In that moment, it hit Clara with the weight of a freight train. Power. They were nothing but pawns in a game designed by someone who thrived on fear. Clara. Nathaniel broke through her thought process, voice shaking. We have to tell someone. We have to warn whom? The masked man interrupted, cutting through Nathaniel's words like a knife. Who outside will believe you? This is just a midnight encounter that fades with dawn. But the truth? It lingers like shadows. Clara felt the ground shift beneath her. Their choices mattered now, more than ever. They stood at the precipice of a darkness that reached out, threatening to swallow them whole. Decide, little ones, the masked figure taunted, stepping back into the shadows, leaving only his chilling laughter echoing against the alley walls. The clock is ticking, and the night has only just begun. Clara turned to face Nathaniel and the woman. Their eyes were wide, hearts racing. What do we do? Nathaniel asked, gripping Clara's shoulder. Fight back, she whispered, fire igniting in her chest. Together. Standing on the edge of a monstrous precipice, they had to choose, surrender. To fear or confront the shadows. The night wrapped around them, thick and palpable, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last. How could they ever win against such a formidable dark force? And at what cost would the fight come? The answers awaited in the dark, a darkness festering, hungry, and ready to consume. The shadows felt deeper now, wrapping around Clara and her companions like a suffocating blanket. With the masked figure's chilling laughter still echoing in the alley, the two women exchanged a glance filled with urgency. We can't wait, Clara urged, her voice a low whisper that barely pierced the thick silence. He's right, the night is just beginning. Nathaniel moved closer, his presence grounding but also laced with apprehension. If we're going to fight, we need a plan. We're not equipped for whatever game he's playing. His voice trembled slightly, but Clara could hear the determination beneath. The trembling woman, still visibly shaken, stepped forward, her eyes bright with fear yet burning with fierce resolve. "Identify the prey," she said softly, her voice gaining strength. "We need to find out who else is targeted. If we can gather information, maybe we can turn this around." Clara felt a jolt of hope. They weren't powerless. Together, they could turn the tables on this game. Nathaniel seemed to draw strength from her conviction. "But where do we even start? He could be watching us right now. You saw how he operated in the bar. We'll pick the right moment, and we'll confront him. We can't let fear dictate our lives anymore." Clara's heart raced, the shadows feeling less imposing with every word that poured from her. "But if we confront him, what if he retaliates?" Nathaniel's voice wavered, but Clara spotted a flicker of belief in his eyes. "That's a risk we're going to have to take," Clara insisted, her voice firm. "We'll create chaos to distract him. The louder we are, the harder it'll be for him to control us." The woman stared at Clara, admiration and disbelief mingling in her eyes. "You're willing to do this? To stand against him?" Clara nodded, emotions coursing like electricity through her veins. "Yes. For you, for me. For all the people who might fall victim to him." Heartened by determination, the woman looked up at them. "Let us start with the underground networks, those who've encountered him before. If he's been collecting secrets, surely others have tried to escape from him too." As they moved swiftly back toward the streets filled with neon lights, Clara felt the weight of the city pressing down with both fear and excitement. The night still thrummed with energy, and she could feel her body responding to the urge to ignite a spark. The trio made their way into the heart of the city. Clara's heart raced as they engaged with scattered groups, piecing together disjointed tales of manipulation and fear. Word had spread that the masked figure had wrapped its claws around their lives, but there were whispers of allies, the light in the shadows. Time blurred as they pooled their information, connecting the scattered threads. Frustration built when they discovered no one had ever confronted the figure. They were all just too afraid. But Clara's coalition felt different. They were driven by choice, by strength, by a desire for freedom. A plan began to take shape, a staged confrontation that would lure the masked figure out into the open, revealing him for who he really was. Clara's heart beat steadily as she sensed that this was the moment destiny had beckoned her toward the precipice of transformation. As midnight approached, they gathered in a hidden alley, their makeshift battleground illuminated by flickering streetlights. Clara felt her heart pounding, every nerve was on fire. "We have one chance," she urged, locking eyes with Nathaniel and the woman beside her. "We need to draw him into the light." With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Clara felt a fiery resolve surge within her. As they readied themselves for the confrontation, her voice rang out with confidence. "Tonight, we reclaim our power." Suddenly, the familiar sound of footsteps echoed down the alley, chilling Clara to the bone. Just like moths drawn to the flame, the masked figure's sneering voice traveled through the air. "You thought you could escape me?" Without hesitation, Clara stepped forward, a surge of courage propelling her. "You've tormented people for too long. We're here to expose you." The masked figure laughed, a cold, hollow sound that seemed to vibrate through Clara's very core. "Exposing me?" He stepped forward, eyes glittering with challenge. "So naive. You really think you have power? You're only playing a game." The tension hung heavily as they clashed, words spiraling into chaos. Clara felt uncertainty loom over her, but as Nathaniel stood resolutely beside her, she knew this battle was different. They were no longer pawns, this fight was theirs. "Bullies thrive on fear," Clara countered, her voice rising above the shadows. "It's time to turn the tables." We know your game now. As Nathaniel rallied the others, support bolstered Clara's confidence. The masked figure hesitated for a moment, surprise flickering in his eyes as the throng surged around him. The moment of distraction was fleeting, but enough for Clara and her allies to press their advantage. The masked figure released a smirk, then lunged forward as chaos broke out. Clara's heart raced. Was this really happening? But as the confrontation intensified, she felt something shift. What are you? She cried out defiantly, refusing to back down. The masked figure growled, the shadows around him swirling violently. I shape fear, my dear. That's where my true power lies. Clara drew strength from the allies rallying around her, voices rising in unison. We won't be consumed by your darkness. With the cacophony of their rebellion, they exposed the shadows for what they were, timekeepers that thrived on silence and fear. As they pressed together, the masked figure faltered, the very essence of darkness retreating with every combined shout of defiance. Together, we are stronger. Clara shouted, the words igniting a resurgence of energy in her allies, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. With every step forward, the alley grew brighter, the shadows dissolving like mist. Clara's heart raced. They were winning. And just as suddenly, the masked figure stumbled backward, the shadows retreating, until he vanished, leaving only the chill of his laughter hovering in the air. Clara stood trembling, breathless, as her heart sang from the victory they had carved from the midnight chaos. They had faced the darkness and emerged unscathed. For the first time in what felt like forever, she felt a glimmer of hope, not just for herself, but for all the souls he had once ensnared. With every heartbeat that passed, the realization settled deeper: what she had gained was worth the risk, and they collectively would keep fighting in the light. As dawn broke, illuminating the sky with a soft glow, Clara gazed into Nathaniel's eyes, an overwhelming warmth settling in her heart. Fear had tried to define her, but now she was free to choose, to seek, and to thrive. Because sometimes, the darkest nights awaken the brightest visions. And in the shadows, amidst fear and chaos, she had found her voice, her allies, and a newfound purpose, ready to fight for each and every life hidden in the darkness. And so, with hope illuminating their path, they began planning their next steps, ready to stand together against the darkness that might still lurk, confident in their unity and unwavering spirit. Clara smiled, warmth flooding through her. Together, we'll shine a light on every secret. They turned to face the day, knowing that whatever lurked in the shadows would never again find sanctuary. If you've enjoyed this dramatic conclusion, you need to subscribe right now. You won't want to miss the next thrilling stories coming your way. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments with your thoughts on the ending. What did you think? What do you think happens next for Clara and Nathaniel? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible journey. Your support is the lifeblood of this channel.